I think it's interesting because you have, just looking at the progression of the show, you have Hawk and Tim breaking up in the 50s at the end of episode 5 when they go their separate ways, but they continue to intersect in the 60s, like you said, in the 70s, and then obviously coming together in the 80s. Why do you think they continue to hold such sway over each other, and basically like no time has progressed and no time has really passed when they're together? And how did you want to show, I guess, the evolution of that part of the relationship when you really see, I guess, the difference between how Tim was in the 50s compared to how he is in the 80s?
Yeah. I mean, they're still the same people. And I think to say that they broke up a few times sort of somehow assimilates it to a heteronormative relationship in which they were completely not afforded that. And, you know, him having to go to the army, you know, he had to go to the army to move on from Hawk. And Hawk was always going to marry at some point. It's almost within 48 hours of meeting, he questions his intentions with Lucy Smith. So it's a different time, and it's brutal. But, you know, they are, you know, there was no other man for Tim, really. You know, of course he would have met people along the way and had a great time, I hope, in San Francisco. And there's evidence of that in Fire Island episode. But yeah, I think it's another example of how living in a world that says you can't be together, it affects the relationship. But they always were sort of, you know, they're each other's positive and negative, and there's something beautiful about that. As you know, as it is painful, but yeah, I think they, you know, Tim is born into a world, and he is equipped with the ability to believe in a God that he can't see. So of course he can believe in a love that he's actually felt, and that at times isn't there. And I just think it's beautiful, you know, obviously what he says at the end. And there was a scene that didn't make the cut, and it included a pretty stunning stanza of an Auden poem. And it sort of it was, how should we like it with stars to burn, with a passion for us we could not return? If equal affection cannot be, let the more loving one be me. Which I think is just stunning. And I think that's what Tim realizes, is that the act of loving is the thing that you want to survive with and live alongside and to die with. And to be the more loving one is sometimes easier. And so I think the power of their dynamic is, you know, the brilliance is that they met at that time, and it's just a genius way of discovering and exploring how political and social attitudes really can't kill love.